See Episode 1, Apple TV Plus's exclusive series. I'm Joe. Please subscribe to our channel. We have plenty of other great videos coming up, and we hope to have you along for the ride. So click on that subscribe button so you can check out everything I'm thinking about in life. It looks like in the 2020s, we're gonna have the great streaming battle. It's been brewing now, in the works for a couple of years. We've had Amazon Prime, and we've had Hulu, and we have Netflix. But then we got CBS All Access, which gave us Star Trek Discovery and The Good Wife, or The Good Fight, or The Good Life, or who cares. But they're also gonna give us Picard, which I can't friggin' wait for. Disney has their own platform coming, Disney Plus. And something called Peacock, which I guess is gonna be NBC, and HBO Max. Like HBO didn't have its own thing already, they're gonna have HBO Max. And in the midst of all this happening, we get for $4.99 a month, Apple TV Plus. With so much content needed, there's gonna be people who are just gonna do the same thing over and over again. And there's gonna be people who take some chances. Apple TV Plus is not playing it very safe. A series about if we lost to the Russians getting a man to the moon, okay. A series about Emily Dickinson, and this, See. So let's get right into it. See takes place centuries after something happened on the Earth, vague, a plague or something like that, or it's very vague, a virus, a plague. I'd have to go back and read the opening text, but it was very vague. Just basically, humanity's wiped down to 2 million people, and the 2 million people who come out of this 21st century calamity are blind. Big fan of Zatoichi. Zatoichi was the blind swordsman, fumbling, bumbling, blind guy who gives massages, who travels from town to town, but ends up fighting the Yakuza and being a badass swordsman who slashes and dashes and uses his disadvantage of being blind as a major advantage, honing his other senses of smell, feel, sound. He sees better than everybody else because of his in-tune senses. Now imagine a show where basically everybody's Zatoichi and you have a bunch of people, you know, fumbling and bumbling all around each other. It's a little harsh, but we're treated in the beginning to, first we're treated to some just weird stuff, like the birth scene of the lady who came into the village 6 months ago, 3 months pregnant, and who our hero, the great Baba Voss, played by Jason Momoa, Baba Voss took this lady who stumbled into the village pregnant as his wife because he couldn't have kids. He didn't have a wife. The biggest, baddest dog in the yard, who is the chief of this Alchemy clan, was single. Okay. Maybe there's a backstory there. Maybe he had a wife and she died in childbirth, or maybe he's sterile and every woman he's had's left him because he couldn't give him babies, or maybe he just smells really bad and the only woman who would have him was one who desperately needed protection. So the woman comes into the village and is giving birth, which was an awkward scene to say the least. I understand they're trying to, you know, depict what it would be like to have birth if there was no modern medicine, and we got a shot of her squatting and like holding ropes, which was lovely, and singing her into the world and all this crazy stuff with Alfred Woodward. But in the midst was a modern water bottle. His ragtag gang of sightless Alchemy tribe to the wall to fight the witch hunter general who has come from Queen Kane looking for a heretic. A heretic, you say, who sees. Ooh. So that's the heretic they're looking for. A heretic who, basically, we found out later in the show as it went along, claimed to the old queen that he could see, which led this old heretic to murdering the old queen, leaving, finding another woman, impregnating her, dumping her off at a village, but before dumping her off at the village, making a way for the villagers to escape the village by building a bridge and leaving a bunch of braille notes. So as you can see, it's very convoluted and a little head-scratching as to how this played out. But yes, I jumped ahead a little bit, but I did jump ahead as to what happens. But essentially what happens is the attacking horde wins the day and they have to flee. They have to flee because they well, what choice did they have? They were just basically to be slaughtered by the witch hunters. Let me backtrack. Before that's happening, as the fight's happening, as we're treated to a bunch of blind people fighting, I'm gonna give them credit for trying something very unique. It was a little rough to watch. And then there's also some head scratching thing. When it looks like they're gonna lose, they dump their CG rock wall, which was some pretty wretched CG, to be very honest with you. They dump a CG rock wall on the first raiding party, even though everybody else is waiting behind in the river. So that's just, they basically gave up their only protection on the hopes that that's all there would be, but that was kind of silly strategy. But even sillier computer generated graphics, as it looked like the worst rock slide I've ever seen in my life. It did not look anywhere real at all. They would have been better off doing miniatures and having rocks. Move along, we learn that she is carrying the baby of the heretic. And the heretic's name, and I've had trouble in the past with names in my reviews, so I am gonna read what his name is. And because everybody mumbles the damn thing, it's Gerla Morel. Gerla Morel. I'm gonna call him Baby Daddy. So Baby Daddy can see, and he's knocked up this lady who's come to the village and has getting protection from Jason Momoa, who's the big bad, badass chief of the tribe who can't get another woman. And at the end, they all flee because Baby Daddy left them notes on where to go, and they end up in a sanctuary in a better place with tires and wood and everything to rebuild their lives. And forgot, there's a traitor in the mists who ratted them out about Jeremy Morel's, Baby Daddy's, knocking up this lady, and he lives! He lives! The traitor lives because clearly we're gonna be in a situation where these people are isolated, and if they're isolated, they're not gonna be gotten at by the bad guys for some episodes, so you have to have a traitor in the mists to keep things interesting. After they escape from the general of the witch hunters, we go to a dam where Queen Kane has her kingdom. She tells everybody to leave because she's got to pray. And we are treated to the most cringe-worthy few moments of streaming history, as her prayer is her fingering herself as she does some twisted Our Father, and at the end licks herself and blows it up to God. So apparently everybody has gone both blind and insane in this timeline. That was, oh my God, that was so cringeworthy. Jesus Christ. That was rough to watch. So after that, Queen Fingerbang is given a message that this heretic is alive. The heretic who killed her sister, who was the queen. I think it's pretty obvious, it's gonna be no twist or surprise to anybody that the queen killed her own sister to become the queen. Partially because she probably coveted the crown, and also partially because she is an anti-sight zealot who saw her queen was being influenced by a person who claimed to have sight, probably lovers with them, and probably trying to, make Whoopi to make more babies that could see. And the current queen obviously killed her sister because of this heretic. So that's not going to surprise anybody when that ends up being a twist. We're in a weird timeline where everybody's blind except for some heretic baby daddy who's knocked up some other blind lady who's just given birth to two twins who can see, and there's a queen who fingers herself while she's praying, who's going to try to get the people who could see, because it's heresy being able to see, because the world was so bad when everybody could see. There's a lot of story building going on somewhere behind the scenes as to how we got to where we got to in this universe. But there it is, see episode 1. Am I going to watch episode 2 and 3? Yes, because I got a 7-day subscription and they only released the first 3 episodes. I don't know when episode 4 is coming. I have a feeling I'm probably going to have to pay to see it. They're probably not going to put it out this week. But I'm going to watch episode 2 and 3 and see where it goes. Don't have high hopes for it. But, they're trying something different. At least it's a unique concept. One other thing I want to say is you can tell that the Apple TV Plus has lower budgets because it's got Jason Momoa and Alfre Woodward, and a bunch of people you've never seen before. It looks like they're a variety of foreign actors. Probably blew their budget for Reese Witherspoon. But we'll see where it goes. Why not? We'll see where C goes. Oh, that was really lame. Okay, so there it is, episode 1, C. Please subscribe to our channel. Got plenty of other great videos coming up. Hope to have you along for the ride. I'm Joe.